esteemed guests, distinguished faculty, and all my dear friends to the event. Before we begin, I would like to request the director, sir, and the dignitaries to mark the commencement of the event by lighting the lamp.
Sundreshu Pashankush Pushpahastam Jagadekamitram Lalita Suputram Matangavatram Manasa Smarami Manasa
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon Nagashri and Shravya for the invocation.
Ajam nirvikalpam nirakaramekam niranandamanandamadvaitapurnam param nirgunam nirvishesham niriham parabrahmarupam ganesham bhajema गुणातीतमानं चिदानन्दरूपं चिदाभासकं सर्वगम्यानगम्यं मुनिध्येयमाकाशरूपं परेशं परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम जगत्कारणं कारणज्ञानरूपम् सुरादिं सुखादिं गणेशं गणेशं जगद्व्यापिनं विश्ववन्द्यं सुरेशं परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम.
Thank you, Nagashri and Shravya. That was a wonderful rendition. The prodigy called Srinivasa Ramanujam, I am sure none of us needs an introduction, but still I am going to attempt a small introduction. The story of Ramanujam is as much inspiring as it is relevant even today. And in the present context, December 22nd, 2012 marked his 125th birth anniversary. He was a brilliant mathematician from a modest and conservative family from Kumbakonam in the erstwhile Madras presidency. He overcome several hurdles and he found a common place amongst the intellect of Cambridge. A person with amazing feats of imagination directed by his mathematical abilities. He played with mathematics as though they were the fundamental counters of human existence. Though his contributions are immortal, his life was rather a short one. He passed away at a young age of 32 due to tuberculosis. Nevertheless, he is hailed as one of the greatest mathematicians of all time amongst the likes of Euler, Gauss and Jacobi. He left behind him close to 4,000 original results, most of which are being proven right. Today we are here to celebrate his legacy, which shines as bright as it used to do 100 years ago. And now we would like to commence with the program. I would like to call on Professor Kulkarni to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Surya.
Yeah, thank you, Puneet. But I will like director to come and speak few words before I introduce guest.
How to be here, be here. Okay. So all that I have to do is let me formally welcome on my own behalf and on behalf of the institute both the distinguished speakers, Professor Surya and Professor Ramamani. And I think we're all here to kind of listen to something exciting. And this was originally planned on 22nd. I think the credit for planning goes to Professor Prasanna and Professor Manisha. And somehow because 22nd happened to be a Saturday and is also falling very much in the holiday season, we thought we'll have it on January 1st. That's why we're having it today. And maybe providentially it is also an interesting coincidence because 24th was the formal announcement that one more of the Ramanujan's conjecture has been proved. So my feeling is it will take several weeks before you get full results. But it looks like that he's getting to be more and more relevant. And particularly for the so-called the IT students, I keep telling them that the mathematics is the bedrock on which the entire computing is there, and I think it's better that they take mathematics and Ramanujan more seriously, and efforts like this are small steps in that. And over to you, Manisha. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope students will take mathematics more seriously. So, I'm here. We are together to celebrate 125th birthday of Ramanujan. Really very happy to have Professor B. Suri and Professor Ramamani here. And Professor B. Suri joined Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Bombay in 1981. He finished his PhD under the supervision of M.S. Raghunathan in algebraic groups and discontinuous subgroups. So he was in TIFR from 1981 to 1995, and then because he was very much interested in teaching, he moved to the Indian Statistical Institute, Bangalore, where BMath course was started. So he is at present professor in ISI Bangalore, and he's quite active in world of mathematics, Indian mathematics basically, and he was an editor of Resonance, a journal of science education published by the Indian Academy of Sciences from 1999 to 2005, and he also has been involved in the Mathematics Olympiad program since 1993. At present, he is Karnataka Regional Coordinator for the Indian National Mathematics Olympiad. He has written 2 books. One is the congruence subgroup problem, and other one is group theory selected problems. His area of research are algebra and number theory. He was the mathematician member of the editorial board which brought out a newsletter during the International Congress of Mathematicians, Hyderabad in August 2010. He is a wonderful person to work with. I have been collaborating with him for last 13 years and learned a lot of mathematics from him, and I'm very happy he is here. Last 6 months I was trying to get him actually. So just welcome him, and please you can start.
So thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here. I've been looking forward to being here, and in fact this turned out to be more apt than what I expected earlier, because Professor Ramamani is there, who my father knew many years back, and in the defense R&D. She probably met me when I was a child. And also I learned that Professor Prasanna's antecedent people like Professor Venkatacharya Iyengar's grandfather.
Yes, sir.
It's really the correct place to talk about this. I've been looking forward to talking about Ramanujan. Most places what we do is we end up with a little bit of history of his historical aspects and don't talk much about his mathematics. Otherwise it becomes too technical, and we lose a lot of people and they're not interested. So somehow I want to bring in some of the people, because here the students are also bright because they're kind of mathematically trained. So I think this is a correct place to talk about some mathematics of Ramanujan. Although a lot of mathematics of Ramanujan, as we know, is very technical, and as somebody mentioned, he proved about more than 3,000 results, and a lot of them were just stated, and a number of them have been verified. Say for example, Bruce Bundt, who must have been here several times, it is his lifetime thing to go through his work and prove many of these things. Even he himself has been saying that doesn't mean we are understanding him as yet. So only certain aspect they are slowly understanding more and more. More time passes, it seems that more we understand him and we realize more how deep his work was. And it's very strange actually in some sense. We'll see why. So let's see, this is the favorite thing that many people start with. See, this is the very first letter which is written 100 years back. It was written on I think January 16th, 1913. 15 days later it will be 100 years. In this letter he mentions this. Okay, so out of the blue, this letter comes and there is this thing mentioned. what is this? This is something called a continued fraction. So this continued fraction, I'll explain what a continued fraction is. This appeared in his first letter, and much later after his death, Hardy has said about the following. Said this following about this. They defeated me completely. I had never seen anything the least like them before. A single look at them is enough to show that they could only be written down by a mathematician of the highest class. They must be true, because if they were not true, no one would have had the imagination to invent them. Says a lot. And to go back, the night that he received that letter, he and Littlewood spent several hours discussing it. Is it a crank? What kind of person it is, and so on. So just mention in passing, this is I'll come back to the continued fraction later. So what is a continued fraction? Continued fraction is essentially something of this type. Something plus 1 by something. So this is a simple continued fraction. I have only allowed ones here. You can allow other b1, b2, b3, etc. This is an infinite continued fraction. So this is one of the favorites that Ramanujan had. His way of expressing many results were in terms of continued fractions. Okay, so this is continued fraction essentially means something like this. So this means that the first term is a0 plus 1 by L1, L1 is a1 plus 1 by L2, etc. So as you know, it's sort of nested like that. For example, you know that favorite, the golden ratio is this continued fraction 1 plus 1 by 1 plus 1 by. Many people would have seen it in school also. So for example, any quadratic irrational like square root of 7 will have a periodic continued fraction. Something as a periodic continued fraction if and only if it's quadratic irrational. So this is the period for root 7. I just gave one example here. So the 1, 1, 1, 4 will keep repeating here. Incidentally, nowadays, in fact, we look at the exponential and so on. In automata theory, for example, they have other continued fractions in so-called function fields. Just like numbers, you have function fields, functions of polynomials. There you have similar patterns. It's of interest to people interested in computer science. So the continued fraction quoted in the beginning. Okay, if you want, I can maybe once I can go back just to. This is the one. Okay, this strange looking thing. So their numbers which are involved are e power something. They are not integers. Okay, so this can be proved using something called Rogers-Ramanujan identities. So Rogers proved them. Ramanujan also proved them. So they are intimately connected to what is called theory of partitions, which many people know about or must have heard about. So you know that Ramanujan worked a lot on partitions. He made many conjectures and which proved to be path-breaking in many ways. And maybe Ramamani also might talk about. So what is a partition? Given a natural number n, number of ways of partitioning a number n into sum of smaller numbers, both natural numbers. Okay. So simple enough to define, but it's kind of deceptively simple looking, but it's very difficult. For example, it grows very fast. You see the first few values, it does not give a clue as to what the pattern is. Okay, the first few values, you know, the partitions are 5, 7 partitions, you can just enumerate them easily. But if you think they can be enumerated so easily, just think again. Just as small number as 200, the number of partitions is 4 times 10 power 12. That order is not exactly equal to. So it's sort of impossible to just enumerate them. So there must be a way of studying them. Okay, so there are ways of studying them which I don't know. See, if you talk about partitions, you can make a 3-hour lecture just on partitions. But so, for example, empirically, Ramanujan observed these 3 congruences. Just looking at the tables, just a few numbers, he had this ability to conjecture, and he is always on the dot, or most of the time on the dot. So this is conjecture means any number of the form 5n plus 4, this kind of number, the number of partitions is a multiple of 5. Okay, how do you see it in the table of say 30 numbers? Quite amazing. So, and similarly, 7n plus 5 numbers, all the number of partitions is a multiple of 7, 11n plus 6, number of partitions is a number of multiple of 11. These 3 conjectures he made. Later he proved them also, when he was in England. So, what is the generating function of the partitions? Very, very simple to see. The generating function is this one, because you expand it as a geometric series, and see 1 by 1 minus q power r is a geometric series, 1 plus q power r plus q power 2r, etc. So this is an infinite series, and you multiply out all these infinitely many infinite series. When you gather together the coefficient of a q power n, what is it? Exactly the number of ways of writing n is a sum of smaller numbers. So this is easy to see, this is a generating function. Okay, so we can see this to be a sort of a, not as a function but as a formal identity, just by expanding it as a geometric series. So the following other wonderful identities have reformulations. So I want to again jump and say, so here is an infinite series, this is an infinite product. So here I am viewing them as functions. So Q is the number of, so the mod Q less than 1, then you have the series converges, this infinite product converges, both are equal. So this is one of the Rogers-Ramanujan identities. And this. So you see here Q power n square is here, and you see only 5n plus 1, 5n plus 4, these numbers are coming. Here 5n plus 3, 5n plus 4 are coming. So here instead of n square, you have n and 10 plus 1. So as I said, a lot of theorems about partitions can be proved sort of algebraically by looking at the generating function. That's a convenient way of doing it. It may not throw light as to why it is something is holding. It's just an algebraic way of showing it. For example, these identities have equivalent forms in terms of partitions. The first one says something like number of partitions of n into parts. The parts, the smaller numbers which are there, any two of which differ by at least 2. This equals the number of partitions of n into those parts which are congruent to, so congruent you understand, plus minus 1 mod 5. When you add plus or minus 1 mod, it's a multiple of 5. So the number of such partitions, see these two don't seem to have anything to do with each other. Just as a partitions of n into parts, two parts differing by 2, why should there be any connection with this? Similarly, the second Rogers-Ramanujan identity I mentioned has this reformulation. Number of partitions into parts bigger than 1, any two of which differ by 2 is one of this. Anyway, so partition identities are intimately connected to many subjects. Actually, statistical mechanics is one of them, and also nowadays modern representation theory, modular forms, etc. Okay. What is the exact number of partitions? Okay, this is very bizarre-looking expression here. So this is in some sense, this is called Rademacher's formula. So number of partitions can be given as a closed expression in some sense. Precise equality rather than asymptotic expression. Okay, so here is some number which is written in terms of some finite sum involving coefficient which is some kind of 24th root or 48th root of unity and so on. Very strange looking thing. Why should 24 and all come here? Here is some sine hyperbolic and derivative and so on. So this is an exact formula. It doesn't throw any light right now, as it is stated. The exact formula is, as I said, due to Rademacher. But it's based on an asymptotic formula that Ramanujan and Hardy proved. So here is an interesting aspect. So as you know, 25 years back, the centenary of Ramanujan, there were conferences all over India. One of them was in TIFR in Bombay, where I was present when this person named Selberg, who is one of the big mathematicians, who won a Fields Medal for his elementary proof of prime number theorem. He was talking and he reminisced. In fact, his career itself was took off because of Ramanujan. He was so inspired by Ramanujan, he became a mathematician because of that. And he worked mainly in number theory, but he did several things, including elementary proof of prime number theorem. Elementary meaning not using complex analysis. So this formula is due to Rademacher, as I said. But one interesting aspect which people may not write about much, but which I'm quoting Selberg. I said Selberg is the person who gave elementary proof of the prime number theorem. I'll have occasion to mention what the prime number theorem is also in a moment. So he says, if you look at the first letter of Ramanujan, there is a statement which mentions, some approximate expression. It's some kind of there's some technical word I use, theta series, some kind of another function. So he had an idea that this could be made into an exact formula, although he didn't state it as such. Ramanujan did not say there is a formula, but he just left it there. Now Hardy was a great mathematician, a great analyst, so he took it in that direction. So he says, Ramanujan in whatever way, as Selberg says, had been led to the correct term. It must have been in a way Hardy, who did not fully trust Ramanujan's insight and intuition when he chose another expression which gave only an asymptotic formula. See, because asymptotic formulae are also very useful. Not just give an exact formula, it may not give all the information also. So both are useful. So if Hardy had trusted Ramanujan more, they would have inevitably ended with the Rademacher series. That's what Selberg said. We dare not say, but since Selberg says, I can quote him. So in fact, exact formula could have been due to Ramanujan. That's what essentially. He also went on to say, this is another speculation that he makes. Ramanujan, as we know, he wrote a lot of formulae, a lot of identity without proofs. What is behind it is of course still not completely clear. But what is his way of working? Was he an analyst? He did a lot of work in mathematical analysis, number theory, but he was more of a what should I say? In some sense, algebraic makeup. He saw structure in that whatever is he doing. Number theory, there are various formulae, various numbers. You could see some structure. So that is more of an algebraic aspect, which Selberg says if Ramanujan had not come in contact with Hardy, but with somebody else of more similar talent, somebody like Hecke in Germany, they might perhaps prove much more beneficial and brought out new things in Ramanujan that did not come to fruition in his contact. But of course, he goes on to say, quickly adds that Hardy deserves the greatest credit for recognizing Ramanujan's originality and assisting him and his work in the best way he could. Okay, so we should not undermine Hardy's system. So the other, one more topic, I'm going to Ramanujan's tau function. I'll come back to partitions also once again at the end. So Ramanujan's work on the tau function. This is one place where sometimes I think Hardy also says Ramanujan seems to have gone to backwaters or something, whereas it is recognized that it is one of the foremost things in mathematics. A lot of connections with other parts of mathematics. It has profound influence in lots of different parts. So we see, remember that partition function has a generating function, partition. So related to partition function is this thing. As you can see, there is some similarity, some kind of 24th power is coming, the negative power. So this function is due, this is what is known as Jacobi's delta function. Okay, it is very remarkable. So this I am now looking at it as a function of what? So q is e power 2 pi I z, that is a complex number. I am just viewing it as a function of this complex number z. So it's actually periodic of period. There is a Fourier expansion for this. Expansion in terms of e power 2 pi I z means there is a Fourier expansion. Delta z plus 1. So this delta function, which is studied classically by Jacobi, instantly I should mention, I dare mention that maybe although Ramanujan had more than 3000 odd results, it's expected around 1/3 of them were proofs of something proved by various other people like Euler and other greats earlier times. So if people think that they can try to imitate Ramanujan and become like that, of course it's not possible because he was very unique, but also the fact that if he had got training, maybe he would have done many more things. So because of not having the training, he did not know what was done already in some sense. So 1/3 of his results are reproofs of known things. He was quite somewhat depressed about it also. It's outside the scope of this talk to give more motivation why this delta function is studied. Okay, suffice it to say that this delta function has very good transformation properties. We change z to something, z plus 1, z to 1 by z. How the function changes. These kind of transformation properties gives you a lot of information, number theoretic information. Because you see the function has a Fourier expansion. The Fourier coefficients, Fourier expansion means what? It's a delta of z, delta of z plus 1. So we can write as a n z power n, a n q power n. The a n's will have some properties because of this transformation properties. Those properties are number theoretic in nature because the coefficients a n's are numbers, integers. So for example, I just mentioned one number of ways of writing a number as sum of 8 squares, for example. You can get an explicit expression. How many ways can you write a number as sum of 8 squares or 4 squares? Every number can be written as sum of 4 squares of integers. But how many ways? Okay. So all this comes out of this studying these kind of functions. These are called modular functions. So as I said, these are strong transformation properties under these kind of transformations. So okay, I can mention one sentence here. Why this transformation z going to z plus 1, z going to minus 1 over z? When you study complex analysis, students who study complex analysis will see there is something called fractional linear transformations. On the complex numbers, z going to az plus b by cz plus d. A, b, c, d are 4 complex numbers. This is a transformation. So this is at the these transformations are or generate all transformations which are so-called isometries of the complex plane, isometries of the upper half plane. Okay, let me just A, B, C, D is a 2 by 2 matrix which is determinant 1. These matrices will give a lot of information about Riemann surface. There are so many subjects. So the thing is, these transformations generate. That's the only thing I want to say. So it's not as though these are two very special. These generate all the transformations that you are interested in. So as I said, this delta has a Fourier expansion in terms of this, because of this property. So these Fourier coefficients, these numbers, this is known because of Ramanujan. So because Ramanujan studied them, he conjectured about them. So this is known as Ramanujan's tau function. First, so he predicted remarkable properties, and they have led to a lot of progress in mathematics in which he never worked. Things like algebraic geometry, a very modern mathematics which he never knew. But the thing is, if you hit upon a deep idea in whatever subject, it does permeate and go to other subjects also. That is what is the lesson here. So Ramanujan's tau function takes integer values. So the values τ1 are all integers. It's remarkable, first of all. And then this so-called multiplicative property, tau of m is tau m tau n. Okay, when m and n are relatively prime, tau of m is tau n times tau n. And what about if it is not relatively prime? You have to look at tau of power of p. So this is a nice formula. So all this is conjectured by him. None of them was proved. Okay, 1, 2, third. Third is the deepest one among them. In fact, in the ICM in 2010 International Congress, the caption, the logo was this one, this formula. Okay, we are proud of Ramanujan's legacy here. The first two conjectures are proved by model not very long after they were made. Okay, and then third one took a long time to prove, 1974. See, Ramanujan died in 1920. In 1974, it was proved by Pierre Delin using all kinds of state-of-the-art mathematics, okay, which Ramanujan was never concerned with. So an elementary but perhaps bizarre-looking implication, just to say that how kind of number theoretic implications are there when you prove a general theorem. This kind of, so tau n differs from sigma 11n. So what is sigma 11n? Sigma 11n is sum of the 11th powers of divisors of n. Sum of the 11th powers of divisors of n, that is sigma 11n. So this differs from this by a multiple of the prime 691. So such things followed. You don't set out to prove such a result. Okay? But they followed when you prove a general result. So the general conjecture is so useful. So a famous unsolved problem about tau function, because tau function is very much in the news, but still, for example, whether is it ever zero? Is any of the Fourier coefficients ever zero? That's what we are asking. It is expected not to be. Okay? But even whether p divides tau of p for infinitely prime p is open. Even in this age of IT, a lot of results are known. But okay, let me come to another topic. It's called Ramanujan primes. Okay, this is again an elementary looking topic. So you know that there is a famous postulate called Bertrand's postulate. It's a theorem actually. When Bertrand made it, he made it in some other context. He wanted to do some Galois theory or something like that. So there he just assumed this. So it's called a postulate. So between n and 2n, there is always a prime. That is what his thing was. And a beautiful proof was given by Raman. I wrote about it in Resonance also, I think. The thing is, several other proofs also know. Okay? But of course, Paul Erdős, everybody must have heard of this person who's proved thousands of theorems by just drinking coffee. Okay, whatever he says, coffee he converts into theorems. So Paul Erdős is a very, very unique personality again. He himself was influenced mainly by Ramanujan into taking up mathematics. His tastes, his ideas were similar. So in fact, his very first paper came from one of Ramanujan's works. This is the first paper in which he gave a proof of Bertrand's postulate, and he realized that it is quite similar to one Ramanujan had given. It is slightly simpler actually. So, but why am I mentioning this? Ramanujan went further. See, between n and 2n there are primes. How many primes are there? Maybe if you go further, between 1000 and 2000 there are many more primes. Between 10,000 and 20,000 there will be many more primes, possibly. So he went further. So that is his. See, for example, this should increase with n, number of primes between n and 2n. So in fact, for each r, look at the gap n and 2n where there are at least r primes. Okay? From that stage onwards, n and 2n has r primes at least. So this smallest such number, of course, you can just think for a moment, that number has to be prime. Number smallest n, so that between n and n by 2 there are r primes, and between m and m by 2 also there are r primes whenever m is bigger than equal to n. That n has to be a prime itself, because then that's where it picks up. So this is called the rth Ramanujan prime. See, for example, the first few are 2 levels. So in other words, what I am saying is, look at 17. So this is third Ramanujan prime. That means between 17 and 8.5, there are 3 primes. Between n and n by 2, there are 3 primes, and n is at least 17. And 17 is the smallest such number. For example, 13 is a prime. Okay, between 13 and 6.5, there may be 3 primes, probably no, but it is not. 7, 11, 13, 3 are there. But you see, if you go to 14, it is not there. 3 are not there. So from that stage onwards, there will be at least 3 primes. So that these are the first few Ramanujan primes. It's quite intriguing. For example, the so-called prime number theorem, I'll mention what the prime number theorem is just now. It's a consequence of the so-called prime number theorem that nth Ramanujan prime is between the 2nth and the 4nth prime. I can prove, see, elementary. And because prime number theorem now can be used without even knowing how to prove it. Okay? There are many proofs, no? So what is the prime number theorem? Essentially, for those who have not seen this, number of primes up to x for any x is asymptotic to x by log x as x goes large tends to infinity. So it's asymptotic to x by log x. Number of primes less than or equal to x is of the order of x by log x. Another equivalent form which people may not have seen, some people may not have seen, is that the nth prime is the size is like n log n. The nth prime size is like n log n as n tends to infinity. Incidentally, there is no formula for primes like this. There can't be any such thing. In fact, the interest about in primes is because not only because of their fundamental nature, but also because they are so irregular. They are also very regular. They are also very irregular. So, as Don Zagier, this big mathematician from Bonn, he said two aspects about primes are most interesting. The key aspects. One is that they are very regular. The other is that they are very irregular. So it's like that. So both aspects together play around. In any case, so this you can say nth prime is of the sign n by log n. So you can say sort of heuristically probability of a number being prime is like 1 by log n. Okay. So recently it has been proved that nth Ramanujan prime is asymptotic to the 2nth prime. Okay. It's of that order. So it's like some jumps are there. 2nth prime is the nth Ramanujan, something like that, approximately. Okay. And in fact, but still, nth Ramanujan prime is it less than 2nth prime? One doesn't know. But it has been recently proved it is less than 3n. There are interesting open conditions like, for example, in the sequence of primes, are there in arbitrarily large consecutive Ramanujan primes? One doesn't know. These things one can study. So next, another topic I am jumping to. So this is a very nice favorite topic of Ramanujan. He always was interested in a lot of this. So as like say man who knew infinity, nesting. So like continued fraction is also like nesting. Something by 1 plus something by 1 plus keeps on going. Similarly, square root of cube root of square root of cube root of. This kind of nesting procedures he liked a lot. For example, this is an elementary problem which many people can just try to do that. Square root of 1 plus 2 twice, 2 times square root of 1 plus, 3 times square root of 1 plus, 4 times square root. So this number is this 3. So this is an elementary thing. So Ramanujan had posed similar such problems in Journal of Indian Math Society and more complicated problems. I just state one very beautiful theorem. So he says if m and n are arbitrary natural numbers, and it's a strange looking thing. You take cube root of 4m minus 8n times m plus n times square root, cube root of 4m plus m. Take square root again. Okay, so you have nested here, one square root here and cube root inside. So in some sense, this expression, the right hand side is de-nested. There are two radicals here and only one radical is there. So explicit thing. Of course, once you state such a formula, you can always verify it. Just square it. You can verify it. Anybody can verify it. 10 standard. Okay. But however, it's not clear how this came through, right? Are there more such formula? Is it just by chance it dropped out? What is the thing? So this is typical of Ramanujan. It turns out that Ramanujan was really on the dot here. So you see, if you here you can prove something like this. Take rational numbers alpha and beta. Alpha by beta is not a perfect cube. And looking at the square root of cube root of alpha plus cube root of beta, it can be written as single radical, not square root of cube root of, like twice, if and only if alpha by beta is of this form. You see, recognize these numbers 4m minus 8n m cube, 4m plus n cube. These are exactly the ones which occur here. See, cube of this and cube of this. So, if and only if, see, remember, you can write square root of cube root of something as a single thing, if and only if this is happening. So, somehow hit upon the only one which happens. For example, from here you can say such thing that this cannot be written as single roots. So, in fact, the proof of the theorem, like the one use other kinds of mathematics, like Galois theory and Kummer theory, which Ramanujan was not familiar with it, definitely. But as he has his uncanny ability, as I said here, just pick out a special result, which is either the unique one or it is this typical or it is a paradigm of whatever is happening. So this is one thing. So let me come back to taxi cabs, which many people will be familiar with. So this famous taxi cab story everybody would have heard of. Then Hardy went to visit Ramanujan and then he said, this is rather boring number I saw in the taxi cab. And he said, what is the number? He said 1729. And Ramanujan said, it's the smallest number, it's the sum of two cubes in two different ways. So it's not uninteresting. So this story was actually carried by E.C. Mahalanobis to India. Okay, that's how we know. Mahalanobis is the founder of the Indian Statistical Institute, where I am from. So anyway, the thing is, he was a contemporary of Ramanujan. Cambridge. See, those days Ramanujan, of course, he had a lot of social problems. He, for example, even lying in the bed, he did not know how to use this counterpanes and so on. The thing is that the Indian friends had to tell him, kind of. So Mahalanobis is one of the people who was close to him. So one day when Mahalanobis visited him, he saw on the Stand magazine one problem. He thought he'll amuse him and ask this problem. He said, if imagine you are on a street, there are houses marked from 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 11. And there is a house in between somewhere. So the sum of the house numbers to the left of it is equal to sum of the house numbers to the right of it. The number of houses is, we don't know exactly, but it is between 50 and 500. What is it? So he thought, okay, he'll keep him busy for some time. Okay. But Ramanujan thought for a moment and said, okay, take down the answer. And that too, here is funny. He didn't just tell the answer. He told the answer in a very warped way. Kind of, he thought, he dictated a continued fraction which contained the solution. In fact, it contained infinitely many solutions. So he wanted to have some fun. So what is behind this? Let me just quickly say, because it's elementary enough to say. So suppose R house is the one that we are referring to. 1 plus 2 plus R minus 1 is R plus 1 up till M. This sum. Okay, this is same thing as saying the left hand side is, as you know, R at R minus 1 by 2. And this, to this, if we add 1 plus 2 plus R, then you get N into N plus 1 by 2. So we have this equation. Okay, so this is what you have to solve essentially. In fact, there is this problem is also told in other ways. The fruit seller wanted to arrange his fruits in a triangular shape, and he also wanted to have so many fruits that he can arrange in a square shape also. So these are triangular numbers, these are square numbers. Which numbers are both triangular as well as square? That's what it amounts to. So you want to solve for R and N like this. So this is, let me just tell you, we want to complete squares here. So we just complete squares by taking 4n and 10 plus 1, okay, plus 1. So that is square of this. So this kind of equation, sum square equal to 8 times sum square plus 1. This is called, erroneously called Pell's equation. Okay. So this is the so-called Brahmagupta-Pell equation. So in fact, there is a story when Andre Weil also wrote about, when Fermat posed a question, he said what would be his reaction if a wandering person had come from India, from the east, and said 1000 years back Indians have solved it. Okay, this is one of the equations. X squared minus 61 y square equal to 1. Okay, this kind of equation is called Pell's equation. Pell has nothing to do with this anyway. So Brahmagupta, Bhaskara gave complete solutions, gave algorithms actually, Chakravala, but they were very algorithmic. Brahmagupta and Bhaskara. So just want to say, when a number is not a square, the continued fraction expansion is periodic as well. It looks like this actually. B0 plus 1 by B1 plus 1 by B2 by 1 like that up till 2B0. As soon as 2B0 comes, this will, the whole thing will repeat. It's periodic as I said, no? This period repeats like this. So what happens is, to find solutions to the Pell's equation or the Brahmagupta equation, we just have to check, we have to take this rational number till that stage. Okay, this is an infinite fraction. I put a bar here, that means it's continuing infinitely often. Just periodically it keeps continuing, right? That's what it means, bar means. But it just stop here, suppose R. Then it gives a rational number. B0 plus 1 by B1 plus 1 by B2 plus up till BR. It's a rational number. That rational number x by y is a solution of x square minus ny square equal to 1. So that is how we get all solutions actually. So for example, this taxi cab, this door problem, root 8 was coming. We had something 2n plus square 1 whole square is 8r square plus 1. So you want to have square root of 8. Square root of 8, the continued fraction you can easily find out is this. So the first few are convergence this. Okay, till 1 4 in the stop, this is just this next. You understand what I'm doing? See, 1 4, 1 4, 1 4, 1 4, 1 4. So those rational numbers are these rational numbers. So each of them gives a solution of this. So there are infinite many solutions for this equation. So for our equation, 2n plus 1 whole square. So 2n plus 1 is these numbers. 3, 17, 99, 577. So n will give 1 and 8 and I missed out one number here. 49. Okay. So n equal to 49 is also, so it's a 49th door number. So 49 houses are not there. He said at least 50 houses are there. So the unique solution for Ramanujan, that Mahalanobis problem was this, between 50 and 500. Only n between 50 and 500. But anyway, the way Ramanujan dictated it, it looks like there are infinitely many solutions. Let me come to quickly another thing which might interest many people here. So again in the centenary 1987 conference time, the Peter Borwein brothers wrote a paper called modular they wrote a paper and it is based on this. They talk about this. In this paper, modular equations, it gives an amazing exact formula for 1 by pi. This is an infinite series for pi. Okay. Of course, you can have other infinite series for pi. You have tan inverse 1 is pi by 4, so you can always write 1 minus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 5. So many series are there, but it is very slow. Convergence is very slow. So why did he think of such things? So in the centenary volume, Borwein assert that these partial sums on the above infinity converge to the true value more rapidly than any other calculation of pi until the 1970s. Imagine 50 years back he is dead. Okay, each successive term adds roughly 8 more correct digits to the evaluation of pi. So they wrote an article in Scientific American also next year, and they say iterative algorithms, that is algorithms where output of one cycle is taken as input for the next one. This is in some sense anticipated by Ramanujan, although he was not educated in this kind of thing. He knew nothing of this computer programming or the aspects of it, but somehow he seems to have hit upon the correct thing. See, indeed, computers not only have made it possible to apply Ramanujan's work, but also helped to unravel it. That's what Borwein say. So, sophisticated algebraic manipulation software has allowed further exploration of the road Ramanujan traveled alone 75 years ago. This is what they say. Now, when you read this and imagine Ramanujan sitting on the ground floor with the legs crossed and on a slate he is writing, and there is not enough space. So, next year, so erase it again and write. And he says the latest software and so on, and sense of incredulity. Erasing with his elbow, that's what they say. I don't know. They can't erase with this. Okay, then another thing that he worked on was so-called highly composite numbers. So this is a highly composite number is a number n so that any smaller number has smaller number of devices. This is what it means. So d divide number of devices of m is less than number of devices of n for all m less than n. So such a number is called highly composite numbers. Very interesting. He wrote a very long paper on highly composite numbers, which inspired Edwards for beginning his mathematics, actually, his mathematical research. So Edwards recalls that he got access to a manuscript. See, Ramanujan published some manuscript, but not the complete work. It was not completely published. This manuscript, why was it not completely published? Because during the First World War, paper was expensive. So you see what kind of hardships people play. Now we don't have ideas enough to write down things. Okay, so another thing which I just mentioned briefly in passing is Ramanujan proved in a collaboration with Hardy that most positive integers are at least log and distinct prime factors. So most has some meaning there. Okay. So this particular result was a key to the start of something called probabilistic number theory due to Mark Katz and Paul Ehrlich. So this new subject is, see, a lot of things about prime numbers as I said are irregular. So you can't use probabilistic methods. They not form a good probability distribution. But several heuristics can be made, expecting that this is like this, then corrections can be made. So then how accurate it is? No, it comes from this kind of subject called probabilistic number theory. So one more thing I want to talk about, Ramanujan sums. So again he was very combinatorial in some sense. He published a famous paper called trigonometrical sums and application theory of numbers. So trigonometrical sums look like some trigonometry, some function analysis, whereas something about integers. But this is where is this thing, applying some method of real numbers analysis, which is very continuous kind of method, to something very discrete numbers. That is a speciality. So he had proved several nice properties of certain finite sums, which are now called Ramanujan sums. So earlier also, of course, Dedekind had considered this, but as Hardy said, Ramanujan was the first to appreciate the importance of this. What are this? In fact, these sums play a key role in this proof. So you know, many of you know that there is something called Goldbach conjecture. Every even number is sum of two primes. It's unsolved as yet. It's still far away from being solved. Whereas the method that Hardy and Ramanujan had in so-called circle method, and using this as the Ramanujan sums will tell you, so used by Vinogradov, prove that any odd number is sum of, any large enough odd number is sum of three primes. So from that it doesn't follow that any even number is sum of two primes, unfortunately. So you see there is a subtle difference. You may think that this just subtract one prime number, you get, it's not like that. So these sums were used in his proof, Vinogradov. So these sums have several applications in graph theory, physics. Apparently, I don't know about this, but I read that it has applications to quantum phase locking. And of course, Ramanujan definitely didn't know about them. He just studied them for their own sake. Anything which is studied for its own sake, which is deep enough, gets applied elsewhere. That is the principle. So what is the sum? The sum is something like this. You take e power 2i k r pi by n, where r is co-prime to n. This. Okay, this is called a Ramanujan sum. So what does it mean? In other words, simply the sum of the kth powers, k is coming here, okay, of the primitive nth roots of infinity. What is the primitive nth root of infinity? Nth root of infinity, you know. Primitive means it is not a smaller root of infinity. It is not dth root of infinity for d smaller than n. Obviously, any nth root of infinity is a dth root of infinity for d dividing n. That you can see. So that means primitive nth root of infinity are nothing but these numbers. The first remarkable property of these numbers, which are defined in terms of exponential function and all that, are actually integer. It's actually an integer. Ramanujan showed several arithmetic functions, that is functions. So arithmetic function is function defined from positive integers to complex numbers, values in complex numbers. But from there they are defined f of 1, f of 2, f of 3. Okay. These are called arithmetic functions, not f of x when x is real numbers. Arithmetic is just defined on natural numbers. So they have many good expansions in terms of the Ramanujan sums. Just as nice function, periodic functions have expansions in terms of trigonometric functions, so-called Fourier series, similar in some sense. So that is, arithmetic functions can be then defined in terms, expanded in terms of these sums. These are the Ramanujan. So nowadays it is called Ramanujan expansions. I don't think Ramanujan expanded much in England. We didn't eat much, but so we eat very pretty elementary number theory guarantees. So there are nowadays, using more and more technology, they can, mathematical technology that is, they can prove more such identities. For example, look at the sum of the rth powers of divisors. This is called sigma r. This function, okay, zeta is the famous Riemann zeta function, defined like this. Then we have this expansion. This is the Ramanujan expansion of sigma r function, sigma r function. Okay, so you see somehow, similarly, if you have the number of divisors function that has this kind of expansion. So they are all expanded in terms of this CNs. Similarly, I said, let's just quickly go through this. I don't want to say phi function, Euler's phi function and its generalizations also have similar expansions. For example, let's look at the number of ways of writing k as a sum of 2 mth powers. This is RMK counts the number of ways of writing k as a sum of 2 mth powers of 2 integers. Okay. Ramanujan obtained expansions for these things also. R2, R4, R6, R8, and a few other, for example, just mentioned quickly. So he just wrote down, because he didn't prove them. He must have had some way of proving them possibly. He just mentioned that, see, this is the prime number theorem. I mentioned number of primes up to x is of the order of x by log x as x goes to infinity. That has an equivalent statement like this. Mobius function is function, if a Mobius function mu of n is 0 if some n is not square free. If n is square free and product of r primes, then it is minus 1 power r. So it takes value 0, 1 or minus 1. Whenever you count something, inclusion exclusion principle, that's what it is. So prime number theorem, the D prime number theorem is equivalent to this statement. Okay, it is also, I wanted to mention because this is equivalent to this also in terms of Ramanujan function. Ramanujan didn't write it. Okay, let me not spend time on this Ramanujan Mobius function. I defined somehow later. Anyway, it's unfortunate. They have nice properties. Ramanujan sums have these kind of properties. Let me not. So I just want to mention one thing. You see, there is an expression of Ramanujan sum like this in terms of mu function. It says that computationally, see, the definition of CNK will involve approximately n steps, n operations. This will involve log n operations. So you see that in some sense, when he wrote re-expressions, other expressions, he must have had something in mind. Okay, you don't have to compute so many terms. You just have to compute very few terms. If you have this expression, so not for just for the beauty of the expression, he also must have had some thing about algorithmic aspects. That is. Okay. So there are many things about Ramanujan sums which I mentioned here. But any function has a Ramanujan expansion. There is a theorem like this, and you can get this coefficient, so-called Ramanujan coefficients of the function f. Sort of, it's like Fourier expansion, Fourier inversion. Okay. This is generally we'll think all these are arithmetic functions. And they have orthogonality relations just like trigonometric functions are orthogonality relations. Similarly. Okay, let me not say dwell on this, let me quickly go to the next one. Okay, last topic in some sense, because this is in his last letter after he came back to India when he was unwell in the last 3 months, he wrote this letter to Hardy where he mentions the called mock theta functions. So, see, this is hardly three months before his death. So nowadays it's proving the mock theta functions. The last 10 years back, there was a big revolution of this mock theta functions, in which things are applied to conformal field theory and also black holes, which I heard about when I was in PIFR. But then quantum invariants, this is even more recent. So things that he didn't ever think of, things are getting applied to that. His work is getting applied to that. So what are these mock theta functions? He just writes in the letter, he talks about something called mock theta function. I don't know why he called it mock. So they are, he does not define this function. He is about 17 examples, not about exactly 17 examples, and just says some property that they have. Okay, so I just mentioned one sentence in passing. One of the favorite things a lot of mathematicians now, top mathematicians say is that there are 5 operations, basic operations in mathematics: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modular forms. It looks like some modular form is some classical, some technical word, but modular forms is behind many things happening. That's what they mean. So just modular forms are somehow below the surface. Properties of arithmetic nature, like the analysis of number of divisors of an integer, number of partitions, number of expressions of number as sum of squares, are ruled by these modular forms. But in saying generating functions for this counting numbers, their generating functions have very nice properties which are called modular forms. That's why they are called modular forms. Why? Because you see the space of modular forms of a certain dimension has a certain dimension. So if you produce one property coming from one direction, property from another direction, so there must be a relation between them. It is a small finite dimension. Approximately that is it, what is happening. So modular function forms have a lot of symmetry. Okay. So for example, classical example is a theta function, Jacobi's theta function, just the infinite series, e power I pi n square x. I can see because the e power something, they transform very well under x to x plus 1, are equal. Under minus 1, x going to minus 1 over x is called Poisson summation formula. Ramanujan gave examples of functions which are not modular forms. So modular forms, I said, are very classical objects which have nice transformation properties. They we studied from Jacobi's time. But these mock theta functions that he so-called mentioned, 17 examples, they were not modular forms. On the other hand, they have very nice properties. Asymptotically, when the variable is tending to some infinity or some particular value, they behave like modular forms. So he didn't explain any such thing. He just wrote down 17 examples. They behaved like theta functions. I mentioned theta function because since Ramanujan's days, several mathematicians have studied his examples, and for a long time they've been asking, is there a unified theory? What did he have in mind? What is these things binding these 17 examples? Are there any more examples of the type? So remarkably, this very, very, very brilliant student of Zagier, whose name is Zwegers, in 2002 came up with his PhD all by himself, this idea. Zagier himself is somebody who's worked a lot in Ramanujan's work. Okay, but Zwegers worked on his own actually, and he gave a theory why there should be some kind of unifying theory. Because as I said, it's outside the scope too. So let me just come back to the original congruences of Ramanujan. 3 congruences. So you see, when you talk about number of partitions of 5n plus 1 is 5n plus 4 is a multiple of 5. Okay, so conjecture, congruence, you can prove it and all that. You want a more satisfactory answer as to why is it a multiple of 5? Can it be made into 5 classes, some 5 natural classes? Okay, so Freeman Dyson, who was a physicist, he came up with this thing, following 2 conjectures. The first 2 conjectures can be proved using that. Proved by Atkin and Swinnerton-Dyer. Swinnerton-Dyer is the nephew of General Dyer from Jallianwala Bagh. So call the rank of a partition to be the largest part minus the number of parts. Partition n is a1 plus a2 plus ak. Look at the largest part minus the number of parts. Why, it doesn't know, but he just saw some. So call it the rank. Dyson's conjecture that this rank is the one which classifies into 5 classes. If you take partitions of 5n plus 4, they fall into 5 classes, corresponding to whether the rank is multiple of 5 or 1 mod 5 or 2 mod 5 or 3 mod 5 or 4 mod 5. This is exactly. So it works for the first 2 congruents, it doesn't work for the third one, 11n plus 10. So for that he defined something called crank and so on, which I don't go into. So rank, why am I mentioning it is, it'll be clear after this next slide. In the generating function, the rank is this. So I think this point is, so the rank is here, right? So number of partitions of n, so lambda is a partition of n, rank of lambda is coming here. So w is a variable, q is another variable. So this is a generating function for the rank. The reason I mention it is, when w is minus 1, this gives the first example, that 17 examples that I had given, first example of Ramanujan, Mach theta function, which is called of order 3 or so. So this is not a modular form, but it behaves like modular form. See, there is some, when you multiply it by a variable power 1 by 24, okay, it behaves like modular form of weight half. Usually modular forms are integer weights, even integer weights. But so the thing is, asymptotically I had an idea what this function is like. So this has been generalized now. In the recent time, in fact, one of the Shastra prizes is given to Ken Ono, I think. Ken Ono and Catherine Brinkman came with this very beautiful. So Ramanujan wrote these 3 congruences, and for mod 5, mod 7, mod 11, but also mod 5 power something, 7 power something, 11 power. So they thought for a long time these are the only congruences, nothing else they could find. But now there are infinitely many such congruences. But of course, see, 5n plus 4, 5 is a prime, 7n plus 6, 7 is a prime. Such things they can't find. It's not in primes, but they have found other congruences, infinitely many, using this. And that what is behind it is Mach theta functions. So let me end sort of by a popular myth. See, e power, so this is, they said Ramanujan has written somewhere, e power pi root 163 is almost an integer. What does almost mean here? Like that. See, how many decimal places? It is 9 here. Okay. Of course, Ramanujan could have known it, because you see, for various reasons. This has to do with modular functions. 163 is a very special number. Okay? It is the biggest number of particular kind. So we can expect such an expression only for e power pi root 163 and e power pi root something else, smaller, not bigger ones. It turns out this one. So I want to explain why that is. So in some sense, the first continued fraction I started with, e power 2 pi by 5 by 1 plus etc. in the beginning, that is a special value of a modular function. So the special value of the function, certain function, okay, I haven't mentioned what that modular function is, but there is a j function. J function is this one. J function is a Jacobi j function. So this function at this number, when you evaluate, it's an integer. Because 163, as I said, is a very special number. If we take square root of minus something bigger, it is not. So that is behind this reason. There is a reason behind why such a value is there. Fourier coefficients are almost like an integer. First term is the one which controls the behavior. So first term is an integer. So the whole value is like an integer. That's one. Whole value is this one. First term will be this 4 here instead of 3. So Ramanujan could have known it, but I could not find it anywhere in his notebook. And Bruce Bundt also. So it's just a myth that he said it, but no. So I want to end with some personal comments that Professor Chandrasekhar mentioned. So Nobel laureate Chandrasekhar wrote 25 years ago. It must have been a day in April 1920. No, 26th April 1920, I think, when he passed away. When Ramanujan passed away. When I was not quite 10, when my mother told me of an item in the newspaper of the day. The famous Indian mathematician Ramanujan by name had died the preceding day. And she told me that further that Ramanujan had gone to England some years earlier, had collaborated with some famous English mathematicians, and that he had written only very recently and was well known internationally for what he had achieved. Okay, this is when Chandrasekhar was less than 10 years old. Though I had no idea at the time what kind of a mathematician Ramanujan was, or indeed what is meant by scientific achievement, 10 years old. Okay. I can still recall the gladness I felt at the assurance that one brought up under circumstances similar to my own could have achieved what I could not grasp. I am sure that others were equally gladdened. The fact that Ramanujan's early years were spent in a scientifically sterile atmosphere, that his life in India was not without hardships, that under circumstances that appeared to most Indians as nothing short of miraculous, he had gone to Cambridge, supported by eminent mathematicians, and had returned to India with every assurance that he would be considered in time as one of the most original mathematicians of the century. These facts were enough, more than enough, for aspiring young Indian students to break their bonds of intellectual confinement and perhaps soar the way Ramanujan did. So in his short life, Ramanujan had such a wealth of ideas. You can say it's still, as I said, as the years go, we understand more, and it's even deeper, and his name will only keep coming up. So I would describe in my own way Ramanujan's way of doing things as sort of the poetic. Ramanujan did mathematics somehow. We still can't figure out even now. He left his mark on P of n. P of n is partitions of n. Wrote pi in series quite often. The theta functions he called mock are subject matter of many a talk. He died very young. Yes, he too. He was only 32. His name prefixes the function tau. Today that was his last bar. Thank you. Just a couple of days back, the mathematicians were passing through India. He went to Tanjavur and so on. He went to the Sastra and he saw this formula. And he says, I have also not seen this. This is something that Ramanujan wrote down somewhere. They have put it up. 2 plus 1. We could not find it in his notebooks. And apparently this mathematician wrote to me that he has asked Bruce Blunt and also Richard Askey. Nobody knows where it is applicable. This is quoted as Ramanujan's. In any case, whatever it is, these are interesting things. So this formulae 1/4 plus. So you take product of primes, some of the primes, plus some rational number is a perfect square, a perfect power. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples. Are there any more? One doesn't know. So he asked me. So in fact, I think Manisha Kulkarni and I have proved similar theorem not involving primes, Diophantine equations. So he was asking me whether we have similar theorems about this. I have no idea. Quite amazing. Even now you can discover things which I have not. I mean, many people have not seen. Bruce Blunt has not seen.
Do any work on the Riemann hypothesis?
No. So Riemann hypothesis itself he didn't ever address. So many of the things we have a hardy style of working. They thought Riemann hypothesis is something did not be addressed directly. So the style was that we could assume it and whatever you can see. So there are lots of results that they are using Riemann hypothesis. I don't think he directly ever.
Yeah, for lack of time, I think we
Thank you,
should.
sir.
Yeah, we have to thank Professor Suri, and I would request Professor Mahabala to give a small token of appreciation.
Please. Professor Ramsar was always very kind to me.
Yes, the second talk will be given by Dr. Ramamani. Dr. Ramamani did a postgraduate in maths from Manasa Gangotri in the year 1963 and continued as a UGC research scholar at Manasa Gangotri. Her doctoral thesis was on Ramanujan's work supervised by Professor K. Venkatachalaingar. She joined DRDO and has served there for many decades. Some of her interests are in the representation of integers as sum of squares and partitions. So without further ado, I would request Dr. Ramamani to talk about some elementary aspects of Ramanujan.
Outside, I wish to thank Professor Sudhagopal for calling me here for today's talk, and Dr. Prasanna for inviting me to give a talk on Ramanujan's work related to what Dr. Venkatachalaingar has contributed. And I wish you a very happy new year to all of you. Dr. Suri has already made a basis for my talk. I am not a good speaker because I joined DRDO, they told me to talk less. So I am not a good speaker, but whatever I know I will try to. My contribution for this today's talk is more on contribution made by Dr. Venkatachalaingar and Dr. V.R. Thiruvenkatachar and their work connected to Ramanujan. Dr. Venkatachalaingar's love for Ramanujan and his work was unique. He was very fond of talking about Ramanujan and his work. And any person who who can listen to him, knows a little bit of mathematics, he will talk about Ramanujan. And I was a student from 61 to 63 as a postgraduate student. And in 64, I joined the Mansagangotra at the same place as a student for a research fellowship, research fellowship. And immediately, he was giving problems to the research scholar, some problem of Ramanujan. He wanted to develop from that time. Remember, it is almost 50 years ago. He was already deep in Ramanujan's problem. And he was giving to his research scholar, this is the formula he gave me. This is in my thesis, I am not going through this thing. And this has got 2-3 proofs. The particular cases are very wonderful. And we have got a partition proof of this and all that. This is in my thesis. It is just to illustrate what level he was there at that time. 1 plus z minus alpha, it has got a, it satisfies a functional relation. Based on that we give proof. And at that time I have to share with you, very few people were working on Ramanujan. And in fact, I had not seen the notebooks of Ramanujan at that time. TAFR published it only in 1957. Perhaps Professor had a copy of that book. But the 2 volumes only. The 3rd volume came only in the 80s, after the during centenary year. That was that. And the other 2 books we had is Ramanujan Poor Lectures. That was published in 1940. And another book from Ramanujan is Collected Works of Ramanujan, edited by Hardy and others. That was in 1927. That's the earliest book. I tell you, Dr. Venkatachalangar was thorough with that book, I feel. He was talking about the particular chapters and it was. And after this one, I worked for some time and got some result. He told me to study, there is one chapter on certain arithmetical function, on certain arithmetical function. There is a big chapter of 30 pages. And that is the one he has fully developed. And there is no trace of elliptic function in that chapter. That was edited by Ramanujan's notebook by Hardy. He had already added some backups and all that to say this is elliptic function, something like that. And then whatever he had given in that has no trace of elliptic function. But Dr. Venkatachalangar states in his book on development of elliptic function according to Ramanujan. That notebook, that book has been released by Mr. Cooper. Now I saw that copy when I went to Mysore recently. So he is completely edited. The original book written by Ramanujan, Dr. Venkatachalangar, based on mostly on that chapter on certain arithmetical function. There is a basis. Ramanujan gives a very few identities, which very simply algebraically he proves them and gives proof of it. Just he compares the coordinates of certain powers and then brings the result. So that he says is the basis for that gives the material, that chapter gives the material, and that particular identity is really very well given the background for the development. And he states in his book, rich and manifold contents of that particular chapter is not revealed properly in the heading of that book. It's a topic name, it's not book, it contains so many rich results. So based on that, and he has written, I'm not going to talk about it, but just to tell you that book he has written on Ramanujan, that was edited recently by Mr. Cooper, as I told you. And what the reason for some such thing is, he was very familiar with the notebooks of Ramanujan and his book. And that is the way he was able to identify all the identities scattered in the notebooks of Ramanujan and other related material, and able to give its relationship with the elliptic function and establish all the previous results of elliptic function with the identities of Ramanujan. That was very necessary, because when Ramanujan wrote his second notebooks and the first 2 notebooks, he finished it in 1906 to 1910. At that time, Ramanujan was not introduced to elliptic functions at all, and he did not know anything. He went to England only in 1930. Before that, there was a book on elliptic function in the library of Madras. But what Dr. Venkatachalakar says is, Dr. KV, I will put it for the easy thing. Dr. KV says is, the library of Madras University was not accessible to students at that time. Only when he became a scholar in 1930, he was able to see those books. So whatever he has developed before that, absolutely he has not. He has independently developed the complete elliptic function through this identity. But he will not find where it is, what it is. So Dr. Venkatachalakar is super, where he has identified all the Ramanujan's identity, given a shape to that, and he has complete, this identity of elliptic function correspond to this identity of Ramanujan, and he has gone much more. So that's a beautiful thing. If I think some of you might be having Cooper's book, he has published only in 1912. But what happened is, he made this elliptic function according to elliptic function in Madurai University. Not many people can understand the work of Venkatachalakar, and his thought is so fast. He may write something that may not be able to trans. He didn't have the facility of today, which you can translate in a minute into the game. And so many mistakes are, but luckily Mr. Cooper has solved it, and that book has come. When he was working, perhaps he put all the things that were related to elliptic function in one place, and all other things he has called it elementary level. But really they are not elementary level. He has made some 4 or 5 documents which I given it to Prasanna, which I call it as elementary level. And just to show you, this is the type of thing that they were doing. The handwriting of their thing. They only had some typing facility. This is one thing. And another thing I have for this today's talk, I thought I have selected. This is from Dr. Tirvenkatachar, written by him. And this is the way they were sitting and writing. And they'll tell you, they have done it in their 80s, 70s and 80s. I think we should really. And for those people who do not know who is Tirvenkatachar, I like to say a few words about him, a few introduction to him. He was intellectual discussion is lifelong friend. He's a lifelong friend, and friend of mine. He says he left Bangalore University, went to Institute of Armament Technology in Pune, and it comes under DRDO, Institute of Armament Technology. It's a training institution for both service and civilians. So there he joined the mathematics department. He became the head of the department. He was very much liked by the people and for his work, and also many people did PhD and things like that. Then he moved to Delhi. He was the head of the department of mathematics in Delhi. We have a mathematics section. In DRDO we have a mathematics pyramid. He became head of it. Then in 1962, after the Chinese aggression, the government of India thought that they would establish a crypto-analytic group, and Dr. Tirvenkatachar was the founder director of that. And I'm really lucky in that, because I happened to work both under Dr. Venkatachalakar and Dr. Tirvenkatachar. And during his almost in late 80s, he handed over this book to me, where he has given some of the works of Ramanujan with proof of last notebooks, which was released only in 87. You can see he was at that time around 80. And so these are the two things I am preserving as it is, because we don't get such material. And youngsters, of course, I have given it to Mr. Prasanna now, and he can put it onto the computer so that people can learn. So what I feel is, after this elliptic function, all other things they must have writing in some notebooks like Ramanujan only. For me, Dr. Venkatachalakar is an idea I have not seen. I don't know. But another thing is, if you see the note, I have got all the 3 notebooks of Ramanujan. Just see, just write something. We don't know where it goes, where subject it belongs to, where it links. And he might have written in a small corner some few equations. I'll show you some. And Dr. Tirvenkatachar has given a proof of all those things. Even to recognize it, that is something which is good, that we can prove or it can be related. Dr. Venkatachalakar and Tirvenkatachar, they could do it because both of them had got a broad knowledge of pure mathematics, all branches of mathematics. That is why they were able to pick up, it belongs to that belongs to that. Some side of work can be done only by people who are there. So he was basically, he was treating mathematics as a whole without compartmentalizing. We make it algebra, geometry and things like that. But Dr. Char is concerned, Dr. Vettachalingam is concerned, because I worked for a longer period with him. He was not compartmentalized as algebra, so that he could see the Ramanujan's problem in a more meaningful way, and he could attach it. Further to Dr. K was also interested in beautiful identities and their proof, which are offered challenges. So he took this and made it as many of his works of Ramanujan. So this is something. Now we'll just move on to some of the work that contained in these two notebooks. I'll just illustrate an example what type of work they have in these things. Can I? This is I have seen major document is this one. One is the development of elliptic function according to Ramanujan, that briefly told, and the elementary level. I have seen these two books. The first book contains mostly of problems taken from the first two notebooks, second mostly from the second notebook, and the third contains the formulas or the identities taken from the third notebook, which was published in 1987. So can we go to the slides now, which just to illustrate this I have to carry with me, I think. Ramanujan at elementary levels glimpses, Dr. VRT and Dr. D.V. Rice, there are several topics treated by Ramanujan in his published research paper, the first two one, and the third notebook lithographed in TIFR, and the new mass material discovered a decade ago, which is available at the library of Trinity College, Cambridge, and which is in the own handwriting of Ramanujan. And at the Mathematical Institute of Oxford University, a copy was made by Professor G.N. Watson. That copy is available in the Institute of Oxford University. A choice made in this paper, in their Vettachalingam work, a choice is made in this paper of some topics in higher algebra, function theory, contour integration, residue calculus, Riemann surface, conformal representation. Since Ramanujan knew only college level mathematics and his treatment is simple in principle, it must be noted that Ramanujan is interested in beautiful formulas whose proofs offer real challenges. There are other various things which can be taught both in secondary school and colleges. The very first it starts with this particular identity, the particular results in trigonometric function. Idilva? Illa? Ida? Ida atho ida? That one is, this you will find in Ramanujan collected works, paper 326. There's a problem given to them. They give a full solution to this problem. And it's transferred 4 pages. I don't know how they call it as elementary. So this is the one. And verify the result. These are some of the things like sin 2x, sin 2z. So these are simple one which can be derived from there. And next they give, you please see this. 1 by x plus 1 plus x squared, 1 minus x, 1 plus x, etc., etc. This triangular sum come in the powers of x are triangular number, which is equal to 1 minus x plus x cube minus x cube plus x to the power 4 fx, he says. And he lists, Ramanujan lists these 5 things in his notebook. I think it is in the page 3rd of last notebooks. Actually, it has come as and Vettachalingam and VRT, they have together proved the 4th one. The other things they say the students can prove in a similar manner. And he was all telling, Mr. Suri has done my life little simpler because he has told about some of these things and partitions. But this is not partition function, it is something like. They also give a proof of the Jacobi classical function, q to the power of n squared, z to the power of n. It is also somewhat related to the tau n and things like that. And the proof offered by Ramanujan is the simplest. That is what Dr. K.V. writes. and all other posts has to go for other complicated mathematics. And another Ramanujan identity is generalized Ramanujan. For this proof of this, Dr. KV uses this particular identity, PZ. P is of course not the partition. Please take the other definition. It is a product 1 plus t into 1 plus xt squared t, etc. And he gives a proof of this in their KV, and he says all these things will come out of that particular, Jacobi identity come as a particular case of that. And Ramanujan gives much more complicated one. You see the beautiful, remarkable identity. This Hardy says Ramanujan identity with many parameters of Ramanujan, remarkable identity with many parameters of Ramanujan. That is what Hardy says. This is the same identity. This is more general than the one, but this is transformation, I can say. What Dr. Venkatachalanga has taken is a transformation of this identity. Jacobi identity has got only numerators. The other one has got the numerator and denominator also. So this is a beautiful identity. You see the right side seems to be very simple and very uniformly given. And this is also given in the elliptic function book. We find proofs of, in this notebook, we also find the proof of this, these two identities, Euler identity and Jacobi identity. The first one is the Jacobi identity, the second one is an Euler identity. So they give a proof of this, and they use this property which he was telling regarding partition. Suri was telling the number of unrestricted partition of n, where n is of the form 5m plus 4 is congruent to 0 mod 5, and if it is of the form 7m plus 5, it is congruent to modulo 7, and if it is of the form 11m plus 6, it is congruent to 11. And in this connection, Ramanujan gives this beautiful relation which related to the first one. It conclusively solved the first one. It gives a general, tells that all numbers of the form 5m plus 4 is congruent to 0 mod 5. And proof of this, Dr. KV gives using those two. Actually, the proof is given by Ramanujan himself. But what happened is somewhat sketchy, and they fully give step by step proof of this in this book. And there is a very interesting remark in this. What Hardy says is, Ramanujan never gave the proof of this particular thing. It is given by Mardell and one other scientist, Darley. But I wish to bring to your kind notice the comment made by Dr. Venkatachalanga. He says, after the death of Ramanujan, some 50 pages of material went to Hardy. And the proof is contained in that 50 pages, they say. Hardy extracted part of this manuscript and published a paper in the name of Ramanujan, Congruence Properties of Partition. Okay, then this manuscript was studied in detail by Hardy, by B.M. Wilson, G.K. Stanley, and J.N. Watson, and his student Rutherford. Part of this manuscript was found among J.N. Watson's paper after the death of Ramanujan in the 60s by Rankin, and was handed over by him to the Mathematical Institute of Trinity College, Cambridge. Another part, copied from Ramanujan's manuscript by G.N. Watson, was handed over to the Mathematical Institute of Oxford University by G.N. Watson himself. So this saw the light only in 1975. So he says Ramanujan has given fully proof. It's not that he didn't give a proof. The original proof is given by Ramanujan. So what they do is they go explaining the thoughts of Dr. KV and give fully the proof of this thing. of this particular interesting result. After partition, there is something like 4-sheeted Riemann surface having branch points of third order. I'm not very familiar with it. Another interesting, let me see, it also contains an interesting example of algebraic field, notebook 2, page 263. What it contains? Some modular relations and things like that. He gives a model. Ramanujan has given a lot of material for modular relationship, and they have worked, but they have not given any reference to these things. So in what has happened here also, they have not given reference to the notebooks of Ramanujan. They have taken the identities, and sometimes they give reference, sometimes they don't give reference. Okay, and he says these are the things that can be solved by elementary, secondary school level. 2x plus 1 to the power of 5 minus x 2 minus x to the power of 5 equal to x square minus 1. I didn't find any reference to these things. They have listed these things which can be solved by some in the then there is also a model relationship and elliptic integral. There is a chapter in elliptic integrals, okay, and some elementary integrals also in this book, and the last chapter contains some elementary identities. Some of these things which can be proved. Therefore, I have given an example. Most probably this may be of some lower level which students can take up and do some work on this. And regarding the second book, the second notebook start with this is a simple algebraic thing which can be proved. 1 and 2 can be by some substitution, etc. You can prove them. And the other two of problem of congruence, it is very simply, it can be proved. This may be of lower level where students can attempt. That's what I feel. All the 4 can be done. And we have the reference. The first 2 has the reference. Somewhere in the end he writes in page number 344 of last notebook, how far you will find these 2 problems and were scratched in. These 2 I didn't find anywhere. I had to search much more time perhaps. Then examples of, they give a proof of all these integrals in their notebook, A, B, C, D, E. Okay. These are the things that there is a reference also here. You go to last notebook of LB means last notebook, LOST last notebook of Ramanujan, page 190 and 191. You will find these things that they have given a proof of all these things. Another thing is this page number 316. They have given some more problems of this type. They split the each term and comparing it, and some such proof they give for the first one. It looks very to the power of 4 for all these things, but they give a proof of this. And another interesting proof is page number 322. They are all involved one, like the relation with 5x, tan inverse t by t, 1 and dt, and so these are some of the things you find. And slide 16, which contain some Q series. This I found recently on last notebook, page 3 itself. You will find without proof in Ramanujan's book, and some particular cases are also very interesting. And they give some more of this type. The second one is this, which you can see this is symmetric in alpha beta, symmetric in alpha and beta, and they give a proof of this identity. Like that it goes on. And there are so many other things which I have not told. There are certain relation in beta integrals. They are all very complicated, involved these things, and I didn't find any reference to this also. And the problem relating to Q series, and I have only selected a few examples to illustrate the type of work that Dr. KV and Dr. VRT have done in the field. And there is scope for the youngsters for using these things. And there are also, since there are proofs also, you can expand this proof to similar problems in Ramanujan notebook, and they may be able to use this material as guidelines. And I hope I am able to illustrate some work of Dr. KV and Dr. VRT. And you see the class of work and the level of work they have done is at very high level. And mostly people talk about Ramanujans, but this is actual proof it can be done and it can be selected. But and also identify where they belong to. So there may be some of the problems which I am not able to, like it may be in some other forum in Ramanujan's book, they might have taken as a particular case or as a subset. So we have scope for searching these two notebooks along with the Ramanujan's notebooks and get some beautiful result. And as we say in Ramanujan's book, everybody has got something to work with. Everybody has something with them, and in his garden, that's what Robert Kanigel says, in Ramanujan's notebook, in his garden, everybody will find something, so that the students can do it. And I want to add something, when these two books came up, Dr. KV was working on this from the very beginning, maybe in the 50s and the 60s and all those things. But after his resettlement, he was able to spend more time, that's one thing. And also his friend, Thiruvenkatachan, joined him. He also retired around 67 or 68, and he joined Bangalore. They must have started working together and putting it in the form of notebooks and writing it. Jointly were able to put their work on Ramanujan and brought out a few documents containing all these proofs. And perhaps this may be helpful to all of us to go further. And I'm thankful to Mr. Dr. Prasanna. He is already putting it onto the computer so that it's easily accessible. And because these notebooks are not available with many people, even though it says it is given to Central College and produced, I asked them that they don't have a copy of this. So it is for us to put it into the computer so that whosoever is interested can go ahead and do it. Because this gives already edited by the second stage thing. Because what Ramanujan writes may not be, at least it gives a link so that we will be able to use this material. And thank you very much for all of you for patience listening. I hope I'm able to convey something to you during this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for such an enlightening talk. I would request Professor Mahabala to give a little moment to Professor
Yeah, I will come, sir.
Ramamani.
I would like to thank both of our speakers for enlightening us with their wisdom. Now I'd like to call on Professor Muralidhara to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Wish you a happy and prosperous New Year. I don't want to come in between your New Year lunch and me. Before we go for New Year lunch, I think we should thank Professor B. Suri for coming here and giving an exciting talk, which helped us to get a glimpse of Ramanujan's contributions to continued fractions, partitions, Ramanujan primes, highly composite numbers, modular functions, tau functions, Mach theta functions, and so on. Thank you, sir. So I also thank Dr. Ramadevi for her excellent talk and for sharing her personal work with Venkatachala Iyengar and Tri Venkatachar and how some of the Ramanujam identities help them to understand elliptic functions. Thank you, madam. I also thank all the faculty, staff, and alumni and other eminent people for coming here and joining this event. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of minutes. The students have a 5-minute function. So this is a tradition in the institute all through. In fact, it's interesting. All the 14 New Years we have been having an informal meet like this and kind of having lunch together. It's what we call a community lunch. And last couple of years, because we have more video and audio skills, we have Atul, who runs a company called Collabia, which creates collaborative music. And we have Swati, who is formerly a media person, she even worked for TV9. They have a 5-minute video. We'll watch this 5 minutes video. And before we go for lunch, before we go ahead with the video, I have a pleasant duty. And we are fortunate today that we have Professor Vinod Vyasulu. Professor Vinod Vyasulu used to be at IIMB for many years and also at ISEC. And just this early of 2012, IIITB started a Center for Technology and Policy with Professor Rajagopalan and Professor Balaji as the coordinators. So they have kind of invited him and he was gracious enough to agree. And so nice to have you, sir, and thank you. We have formally, the Alumni Association has been we went through the election. We have about 1,532 alumni. So they went through the election. And the Alumni Association office bearers had their formal meeting today. They're all here. Please come over. We'll give them a big hand. Please. Where is Naveen? Okay, Naveen is the president-elect. Officially, his term starts today. You are the president today. So introduce your team and start.
Naveen, I'll start from Siraj. I still have to get
You can say which batch you graduated and where are you now.
Okay, I'll start mine, so let's all introduce ourselves. I still have to know their names. I know mine. Yeah. Naveen Gowder, I'm from the second batch. So I'm one of the earliest ones who passed out. I see Professor Dinesh here and a lot of people whom I know. So it's always good to come back, as I said, coming back home.
Hello everyone, I am Deepak Panigrahi from 2005-2007 batch. And of course, a lot of professors already there. I know most of them. Still we have multiplied double. So as Professor Sadgopan was telling earlier today. And pretty much this.
Myself Praveen Angolkar. I am from the 8th batch, elected as the secretary. Currently work at Intel. Thank you.
I'm Mansa. I'm from the 2007 to 2009 batch. I work with Adobe Systems.
Okay, one of the nice things of IIITB is we are a completely an extended family. It so happened Mansa works for Trideep's group.
I am Karthik. I am from 2008-10 batch and I am pretty close to IIITB. I work for Siemens, so by proximity and by heart I am pretty close to IIITB and Happy New Year to all.
I am Madan. I was here from 2009 to 2011 and currently working with Intel Technology.
My name is Siraj. I was passed out from the 4th batch. So part of the move from ITPL to
he had
the
seen the
Electronic
old
City
campus and the new campus.
Benefit of living, two places. I work for a company called Thorogood and I'm based in London now. Just came over for the meeting.
He landed at 10 o'clock from London and straight here. Thank you. We are honored. Okay. Thank you. And we have one small little stuff. Okay, so many of you would know that Reddy Garu has been doing a lot of running around, right? He's the guy who kind of takes care of the classroom. When things generally don't work, everybody looks for Reddy. And Reddy got married just last week. So we have both Reddy and Mrs. Reddy with us. Thanks, Amma. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. So thank you. Okay. Now another 3 minutes for Swati. Swati, the floor is yours.